Hey everyone, it's Chris here at Fernglade Farm. Today we're going to go and pick a garden salad. Fresh veggies are one of the joys of my life, and I think as permaculturalists we really need to spend a lot more time and energy on plant identification, because I think a lot of people don't actually have any idea what particular veggies look like or taste like, but the best way to know is actually to get experience and get out there and grow them. Anyway, without waiting any longer, let's go and do a virtual tour of the veggie beds. This is one of the first beds closest to the house, and what I do is actually I run a polyculture, so you won't find too many vegetables the same in each bed, and this confuses insects, particularly our worst one here is probably the cabbage moth. That tends to eat most of the brassicas, but only during summer, and the caterpillars actually we pick off and feed to the chooks, and they tend to love it. But let's have a look now at some of the veggies here. Getting close up, you can see this one here is kohlrabi, and it's a cabbage replacement, and you can just basically take some of it off and eat it as a cabbage. Then coriander, you can always tell coriander, it's got a beautiful flavour and it grows very well over summer here. And moving around a little bit further, we've got capsicums coming up here. Then behind it, that's spinach. And then one of my staple greens that grows all through the year and it's self-seeded prolifically here is rocket. That's looking quite good. Then just down here we've got self-seeded carrots. And this is a Brussels sprouts. Apparently they taste quite nice, but I'm yet to actually have a nice tasting Brussels sprout, but I'm still hopeful. I'm giving it a try. In here we're growing peas, and there's some this thin-leaved plant is actually Mizuna. It's an Asian green. Then underneath that you've got beetroot, and then there's some kale here, and behind is another Brussels sprout, and you can actually see the little heads of the Brussels sprouts forming in here. Although it's going to seed at the moment, so I don't know whether that means it'll form Brussels sprouts or actually die back. And then going to the second bed, there's not much in here at the moment. You can see this is one of the self-seeded rockets. They're feral here, they just grow like weeds. And in here we've got one of the first tomato plants. Remember, it's late spring here, so generally the tomatoes don't go out into the open until after Melbourne Cup Day, which is first Tuesday in November. But this one's self-seeded, so I've just sort of thought, well, it's going to be pretty hardy. Most of the tomatoes we grow here are cherries, because the larger fruit, it doesn't ripen because it's not warm enough. And this is a great herb here. We're into the third bed, and this is feverfew. It's a fantastic anti-inflammatory. It also helps clear the sinuses, and it doesn't taste very nice, but it's quite effective and it works within minutes. And you can see here's the beautiful flowers here of rocket, which is again gone to seed. Up behind here is celery, and celery I just basically pick it and eat it leaf by leaf. Just pull off big chunks at a time. Quite a prolific plant, as you can see. Then behind I've got another broccoli, and again that's going to seed at the top. You can see that seeds forming, and I don't know how that's going to taste. I'm hopeful though. Down here there's a humongous Vietnamese mint that's actually doing very well. It stays green all through winter, and it's an excellent tasting plant. In here we've got some self-seeded carrots, and there's a little bit of a weed there. I'm not sure, it looks like a milkweed. I better pull that out. Here we go. The birds are like that. And this is a pumpkin, I believe, or a zucchini. And you can see just behind we've got a pea. So that's looking good. Then we're clearing out this bed here in preparation for tomatoes. But in the middle of it, there's appeared some horseradish. It's a lovely tasting plant. You can just eat it. You can either eat the radish or eat the leaves. They taste pretty much the same. This is the same with peas too. The peas actually, the leaves actually taste exactly like the peas. Again, we've got some rocket, which has gone to seed, and we're still eating that. Now we're into the 5th bed, and we've got mustard. And you can see here just at the end, I just tear chunks of it off and eat them as part of a salad. It's fantastic. Behind it, that's a cos lettuce. And looking around here, just behind the onion, and I'm not sure, it could be a red onion, I don't quite know. We planted a lot of seeds and all sorts of things came out. And this is a fantastic vegetable. It's a kohlrabi. It looks like something that a toy manufacturer had come up with, and the colour is actually true here. It's actually bright purple. It's an amazing looking plant, but it tastes beautiful. You can eat both the leaves and the radish. Then next to it, you've got coriander growing up again, and then another cos lettuce. Then just behind it, this is a great summer staple. Very, very hardy. It's a deer's ears lettuce. I thoroughly approve of that one. You can see behind here's a slightly older kohlrabi, and you can actually see the radish, or I think it's a turnip of some sort, but it's actually very tasty. It's just split here because we've had too much rainfall earlier in spring. But the leaves themselves, you can still eat them. They're fantastic. And then around here, we've got a radish, and if you look right in there, right deep inside, you can actually see the radish forming, and that's fantastic. You can also eat the leaves, and that's going to seed, so it's probably nearing the end of its life. Then we've got more peas there. Again, try the leaves, they're really good. Another little baby cos lettuce. That one's actually self-seeded, I think. Then we've got a little baby celery again. I think that's self-seeded. And just behind it, that looks suspiciously like a rocket. So moving to the next bed. Again, rocket. You've got celery, and then we've got chives, and they've got the most beautiful flowers. They attract insects like there's no tomorrow. Then up behind it, we've got leeks. Again, more chives around here. This red thing is beetroot. That forms the most beautiful beets. You can see it just forming down there. Then up behind it, you've got huge coriander. Again, it hasn't quite gone to seed yet, but a bit of warm weather and it bolts. Again, all of these plants, you can just tear chunks off and add it to a salad, so they're great fill. Kale is really good, and kale's very good because it's from the brassica family, and it does well hidden in amongst other vegetables because the cabbage moths don't get it. Again, some more mustards. Bit of that looks like spinach to me. Then we've got some parsley. Does very, very well up here. More mustards. Bit of coriander. And again, a lot more coriander. Another pea in the centre. Then this looks to me suspiciously like a beetroot. You can see the beet in there. There you go, just down here. And there's more deer's ears lettuce. That's some coriander. There's another lettuce behind. A bit of parsley here. There's a couple of different varieties of parsley. You can see this one's quite a lot flatter. This one's very curly. So each of them taste different and they grow at different stages of the year. This one's another parsley. It's curlier again. So once you start growing from seed, you get all sorts of different things. A bit of grass in here. Better get rid of that. Some more mustard. We've got broccoli again. Oh, not broccoli, sorry, Brussels sprouts. Again, I don't know how nice it is. We've got some coriander, and these are a couple of camellias that we're going to plant into a hedge. Then moving on to the next bed. Again, zucchini or pumpkin. It's very hard to tell with them. They all look pretty much the same. There's some young spinach. There's some nasturtium. I actually grow the nasturtium over the side, so they actually produce a lot more plant material when they're grown in these compost beds, and trailing them over the side actually produces a lot more growable space for them. And then we've got another deer's ears lettuce, which is a fantastic producer up here. Come around to beetroot, and then Brussels sprouts again. I'm hopeful still. And this is definitely spinach. So moving further around, and you can see on the ground, this is rosemary, and it's coming to flower at the moment. You can see some beautiful blue flowers on it. It's only a small plant, probably only about 2 years old. This is some of the rocket that's just self-seeded in the ground. It's not in a veggie bed at all, it's just some seed that's blown around. And actually the dogs like eating that, so I don't know what that means. We've got some more parsley here, curly leaf, and there is an absolute stack of rocket here. So we're going to pull this back, and behind you can see that there's some, that is definitely spinach, and Dizzy's lettuce, and this plant here, that's a wild rocket. It tastes exactly the same as rocket, but it's perennial, so you've got it all year round, and it's a very slow growing plant, and it also clumps. You can see it's quite dense there. Then in amongst this, there's celery, which is really good. Celery grows right through winter here. It's a fantastic plant. And we've got some coriander. And then having a look back down here is in some parsley, and then an absolute stack of celery. Then going to here, this is an experimental bed. It's a long-term thing. There's it's actually asparagus. So a whole lot of different varieties, and some of them are fat bastards and purples, and you know, I think there's a Mary Washington one in there too. And we've either brought them from seed or from the crowns that are bare rooted over winter, and they're surprisingly hardy. And every year you can see that the soil level in the bed is actually sunk. So what I do every year, I just throw more compost on top, and the bed itself, you can see that's about 1/2 metre, which is about 50 centimetres, or about probably 1.5 feet. And that's a long-term proposition, that one, but there's certainly a lot of fertility in there for plants. Then moving over to the 2 last beds, you've got more cos lettuce here. Coming here, there's some self-seeded carrots. Then I've got some, there's a pumpkin or a zucchini. And basically I'll do the same thing that I do with some nasturtiums here, and let them just grow over the side and just drape over there. And then looking in the centre, we've got capsicum. Again, like the tomatoes, because we're in a colder climate, we have to grow smaller varieties. So this is a mini capsicum, and they're very good in areas that where you want to grow them outdoors and where you don't really have the hot temperatures. You can see in here, again, more self-seeded rocket, and this is the garlic. I'm just experimenting with garlic this year, never grown it before. This is a feverfew that's just self-seeded in the batter. Just behind it is some comfrey. And looking in here, we've got kale, and that's a spinach, I think. Again, pumpkins, zucchinis. That's capsicum, and then you've got another garlic. It looks an awful lot like an onion from the allium family, and then there's a self-seeded rocket behind it. Surprise, surprise. And then over there you've got self-seeded carrots, and again there's another pumpkin or a zucchini, and more self-seeded rocket in there. On the land just below the raised veggie beds, I've actually grown a lot of flowering plants so that they attract insects all year round, and especially bees. It's crazy for bees here at the moment. One of my neighbours has a couple of hives, which makes it quite simple for me. And I think we've just got to support the bee populations as much as we can, because they're under the pump a bit. I think as permaculturists we really need to get out and actually practice and understand and learn and be able to identify a lot more plant species. I think it's a really important skill to have. Anyway, hope you enjoyed looking at our veggie beds. Thanks.